Throughout its 70 years of existence, the WWE has seen some of the greatest and also some of the most awful champions ever. But only a handful of men and women can call themselves the very first ones. Today, let's look at some of the best and worst inaugural champions in WWE history. Best, Seth Rollins NXT Championship. The man of the hour, Seth Rollins defeated AJ Styles to become the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion. This wasn't the first time he achieved such feat though, as during the early days of his career, Rollins was the guy chosen to be the face of a revamped developmental brand, becoming the first ever NXT champion. This happened back in 2012 as part of a Gold Rush tournament to crown the inaugural champion. The Visionary had to defeat the likes of Drew McIntyre, Curtis Axel, and Jinder Mahal, who he beat in the finals of the tournament. Seth would go on to hold the title for an impressive 133 days, through which he successfully defended it against Jinder Mahal and Curtis Axel in singles matches. Towards the end of his run, however, Seth had already transitioned to the main roster as part of the Shield. So, Seth would lose the title to Big E in a no disqualification match. Seth's title win kick-started the cult phenomenon that would be NXT, and 21 different champions later, it's still going strong today. Fun fact, Seth is the only wrestler in WWE history to ever take part in 3 inaugural championship matches. He won 2 of these, but the other one was for the Universal title which he lost. And the man who beat him for it was... Worst, Finn Balor Universal Championship. No one on this list has been dealt a worse hand more than Finn Balor. After a successful run in NXT, Finn Balor would officially make the jump to the main roster on July of 2016, being drafted as the 5th overall pick by Monday Night Raw. Balor wasted no time in making his presence known with the WWE Universe as he would win his very first match, beating Cesaro, Kevin Owens, and Rusev in a Fatal 4-Way. He would then face Roman Reigns, the winner of the other Fatal 4-Way, in the main event later that night. And on a shocking moment, Finn Balor beat Roman Reigns clean and punched his ticket to SummerSlam, where he would face Seth Rollins to determine the inaugural WWE Universal Champion. A rocket has been strapped by management to Balor, and it continued this momentum on his way to SummerSlam. Wrestling in his demon persona, he would tear the house down with Seth Rollins and deliver an amazing match, barring the live crowd of course, who expressed their clear displeasure of the new belt.
Watch out!
Finn Balor would go on to win the match, becoming the inaugural Universal Champion. The following night on Raw, however, it was confirmed that Balor had suffered a shoulder injury during a buckle bomb spot to the outside. Unfortunately, this meant that Balor's reign was over as soon as it started, as he was forced to relinquish it on that same Raw. He would make a comeback 7 months later, but he never quite reached the heights he did before the injury. That is until the Judgment Day, where he's been having sort of a career renaissance as of late. It makes you wonder though how different Balor's career and the WWE as a whole would have been had his untimely injury not happened. Best, Adam Cole NXT North American Championship. Adam Cole is one of the biggest, if not the biggest star NXT has ever had. As part of a legendary faction in the Undisputed era, he ran roughshod on the black and gold brand from the latter half of 2017 till his departure in 2021. After winning the NXT Championship in 2019, he became only the second Triple Crown champion in NXT. But before his historic 396-day reign as NXT champion, he would also be part of another history-making moment. At NXT TakeOver New Orleans, a 6-way ladder match took place to crown the inaugural NXT North American champion, their version of a mid-card title so to speak. It was an absolute banger and is now regarded as one of the best ladder matches in WWE ever, even getting a rare 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer himself. The winner, of course, was Adam Cole. He went on to hold it for over 4 months, defeating the likes of Oney Lorcan and Wolfgang. His reign would come to an end at the hands of Ricochet at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4, a stellar match to no one's surprise. Worst, Triple H World Heavyweight Championship. For all the love Triple H gets with his legendary career, his work in NXT, and now as the head of WWE Creative, one can forget that he was once one of the most hated men in all of wrestling, thanks in larger part to his now infamous Reign of Terror. A period where Triple H had a stranglehold on the World Heavyweight title and buried a lot of talent. It began in quite possibly the worst way imaginable. He won it, No, he was awarded the title by Eric Bischoff since he was the #1 contender to Brock Lesnar's Undisputed Championship, who was contracted to an exclusive deal to SmackDown by Stephanie McMahon, leaving Raw without a title. This decision was absolutely ridiculous, no question. It doesn't stop there though, as this title run gave birth to one of the worst storylines in WWE ever, Katie Vick. After his win over Rob Van Dam, Triple H would go on to feud with Kane. Now, I don't know what crack Vince and the creative team were hitting when they came up with the build for this feud, but man was it god awful. Basically, the game accused Kane of killing a woman named Katie Vick and doing it with her lifeless body on her funeral. Yeah, I probably don't need to say why this is bad, and yet Vince thinks this is comedy gold.
And you're in this thong type thing. It was like, come on, that is like high comedy if there ever is.
Stop it. Get some help.
They even went as far as to have Triple H reenact this with a doll while being butt naked in a thong. Just why? Anyway, his title run would come to an end at Survivor Series 2002 in the very first Elimination Chamber match in WWE history. Shawn Michaels would pick up the victory, pinning Triple H last, and it was a really great moment. While the first reign did only last 76 days, he would win the title several more times throughout this period until Batista beat Triple H at WrestleMania 21 to become the new World Heavyweight Champion, officially putting an end to the Reign of Terror. This is one of those times where having one single guy as champion long term actually hurts the product more than it elevates it. Roman Reigns. If you enjoyed the video, it would really help me a lot if you give it a like and subscribe, as it lets me know that you like this kind of content. Best, Heath Slater and Rhino, WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Yup, I did not expect this at all when making this list, but Heath Slater and Rhino had a very solid run as the inaugural WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions. It all started back in the 2016 draft where Heath Slater went undrafted. Heath would go on a quest to get signed to any brand but failed to do so every time. That is, until he got offered a spot at a tournament for the newly announced SmackDown Tag Team titles, but only if he found a partner. After struggling to find a partner, Rhino, who had recently returned to the WWE, took pity on Heath and agreed to be his partner. The pair would beat the Headbangers in the first round and then the Hype Bros in the semifinals. On Backlash 2016, they would pull off a big upset win as they defeated the Usos in the finals of the tournament to become the inaugural SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And with that win, Heath finally got a WWE contract, one of the more satisfying conclusions to a good storyline. Although their title reign wasn't the longest, only clocking in at 84 days, they successfully defended it against the Ascension, the Spirit Squad, and the Usos. They were even the co-captains for the traditional 10-on-10 Survivor Series Tag Team Elimination match. Slater and Rhino's Cinderella story would come to an end at TLC 2016 when they lost to Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. Their success might have been brief, but it was meaningful. So meaningful in fact that the two even reunited on Impact years later and won the Impact World Tag Team Championship. Now that's true friendship. Worst, Adrian Neville and Oliver Grey NXT Tag Team Championship. From one of the best inaugural tag team champions to one of the worst. There really isn't much to write home about this, as much like Finn Balor's reign, it ended just as quickly as it started. The team of Adrian Neville and Oliver Grey, formerly known as the British Ambition, won an 8-team single elimination tournament, beating the Wyatt family to be crowned the inaugural NXT Tag Team Champions. Unfortunately, Grey suffered a torn ACL a few weeks later on a live event and was written off TV by the Wyatt family. Although he was replaced by Bo Dallas as Neville's tag partner, the writing was on the wall for this team as they would lose the titles to the Wyatt family in their first and only defense. Grey was released shortly after his return from injury almost a year later. Sad to say that the first NXT Tag Team Champions was also the least memorable one. Best, Paige, NXT Women's Championship. Paige is one of the pioneers of the women's revolution, which is one of the most important changes in the WWE history, with the women's division finally being given the same importance as the men's division. But before Paige would become a trailblazer in the main roster, she made history in the black and gold brand as the very first NXT Women's Champion. On June of 2013, Stephanie McMahon announced an 8-women single elimination tournament, with the winner being crowned as the first NXT Women's Champion. Paige won the tournament by defeating Emma in the finals. She would then go on to hold the title for a whopping 273 days, which ranks just 5th among the longest single NXT Women's title reigns. Even more impressive, she did it at just a young age of 20 years old. During her run, she had 3 successful title defenses, defeating Summer Rae, Natalya, and Emma in singles action. Paige would also win the Divas title from AJ Lee after a shocking victory on the Raw after Mania. However, because of this, she was stripped of the NXT Women's title by then NXT GM JBL. It was kind of a lame ending. She could have at least dropped it to someone first, but nevertheless, Paige's run was an important one as she carried the title and the NXT Women's Division through its formative stages. It's a shame then that injuries hampered Paige early into her career. One of the biggest what-ifs, she very well could have been one of the greatest women's wrestlers alongside PCB mates in Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Worst, TJP, Cruiserweight Championship. It breaks my heart to put it as a worst on this list, as the tournament that preceded it is one of, if not the greatest tournaments WWE has ever produced. In 2016, WWE held a network-exclusive tournament known as the Cruiserweight Classic, a 32-man single elimination tournament featuring the greatest cruiserweights all over the world. If you wanna see a complete deep dive of the tournament, check out this video here. But essentially, this tournament gave us fans some match of the year candidates in Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander, as well as an early glimpse of the blood feud that would be Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. After 3 hard-fought victories, one of which was a huge upset over tournament favorite Kota Ibushi, TJP emerged as one of the finalists alongside Gran Metalik. Now, it was already known that the winner of the tournament would be getting a trophy, but Triple H shocked everyone as he came out before the finals match started and announced that the winner would also be crowned the inaugural Cruiserweight Champion. This also came as a part of the revival of the Cruiserweight division. TJP became the new Cruiserweight Champion after a grueling battle against Gran Metalik. All seemed to be going in the right direction till the Cruiserweights officially made their debut on the following Raw, and the freaking Cruiserweight Champion wasn't even part of the show. Things went from bad to worse for TJP as just 2 months after winning the title, he was booked to lose it to the Brian Kendrick at Hell in a Cell 2016. While Kendrick was a great choice as he was a more established veteran and a great heel, WWE never really gave TJP a chance to grow as champion. As a result, his title reign just became more of an afterthought. TJP never won the title again throughout his tenure in the WWE, and with only one successful title defense, it's easy to see why he's on the worst side of this list. Best, Tyler Bate, United Kingdom Championship. From one great tournament to another, WWE capitalized on the success of the Cruiserweight Classic, and a few months later, the NXT United Kingdom Championship Tournament was born. It was a 2-day event that was held on the 14th and 15th of January 2017. Some notable names in the tournament include Pete Dunne, now known as Butch, and Jordan Devlin, who now goes by JD McDonough, both of whom are now in the main roster. But the man who would win the entire thing was Tyler Bate, who defeated Pete Dunne in a 5-star worthy match to become the inaugural United Kingdom Champion. Bate would have 4 successful title defenses over the course of his 125-day reign, and it would come to an end on NXT TakeOver Chicago, where he would lose it to then rival Pete Dunne in what is without a doubt a match of the year contender. As part of WWE's expansion to the UK scene, an NXT UK brand would formally be established in 2018. But after shutting down just 4 years later in 2022, Tyler Bate would also become the final NXT UK champion after the belt was unified with the NXT Championship. A bit of a full circle moment right there, wouldn't you say? Worst, Titus O'Neil 24/7 Championship. When it comes to the worst inaugural champion ever, the line starts with Titus O'Neil. You might remember R-Truth as being the quintessential holder of the infamous belt, or Drake Maverick's antics during his time as champion. But most people forget that the very first one to hold it was Titus World Slide. Announced by Mick Foley in 2019, the 24/7 Championship had the same stipulation as that of the old Hardcore Championship, in that it can be defended anywhere, at any place, and anytime, and that it did. As soon as Mick Foley left the title up for grabs in the ring, a bunch of, let's just say, underappreciated superstars scrambled to the ring fighting to get a hold of the belt. During the scramble, Titus O'Neil would end up being the one to successfully grab the title, giving him the honor, or the dishonor, of being the very first 24/7 champion. Well, that lasted for about 30 seconds, as he would get rolled up by Robert Roode while celebrating on the ramp. And so began the chaotic history of the 24/7 title. This title was literally won by anyone, and I mean anyone, throughout its time. Apparently even Santa Claus was a 24/7 champion. What the hell? Due to its nature, the title was never seen as anything more than a jobber's championship, and was mercifully put out of its misery by Nikki Cross in the most deserving of ways. Will Seth freaking Rollins' reign as inaugural World Heavyweight Champion be one of the best or one of the worst? Let me know in the comments below. Also check out this video to see which other superstars deserve a major title win this year.